It's amazing how many times I've seen people repeat the same mistakes, sometimes the same sin, with the same results, and yet they still manage to convince themselves that the next time will be different. It doesn't work that way. The only thing that happens is they get themselves farther out into more open and deeper water. No, well, just because it happened before doesn't mean it will happen again. Somebody said one time that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing over and over again, but this time it'll be different. I've seen people ruin their lives, wreck their lives, and it's the same thing, that over and over and over and over and over again, but this time it'll end different. No, it won't. You know, in Proverbs chapter 13, verse 16, it says, "Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly." A fool lays open his folly. What does that mean? He puts his folly, he puts his foolishness on display. How does he do that? By making the same bad choice over and over and over again, and thinking, "Oh, but this time it'll be okay. This time it'll be different." No, it doesn't work that way. How do we get ourselves into trouble? Well, the second thing that man on the boat probably thought was, "I'm still close enough to the shore, I feel I can retain control. I'm not really that far off. I think I can make it over there. I think I can take care of this. I'm still close enough, I feel I can retain control." Can I just tell you today, beloved, one of the great fallacies and lies of sin is the illusion of control. Why do we play with sin? Because we think we have the upper hand now. Why do we toy with it? Because we have deluded ourselves into believing I can control sin. I can control how far it goes. I can control when it stops. I can control what the damage or the fallout from it will be. I'm in control. That is the fallacy and the lie of sin. You think you're in control. Oh, I can stop at any time. I'm strong. I'm in control. I know what I'm doing. This is all an illusion. What did Jesus say in John chapter 8, verse 34? "Whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin." Jesus said, if you sin, you're the servant of sin. Is the servant in control? No, the servant's a slave. The servant does what they're told, and when you serve sin, sin is the master, and sin tells you what you're going to do. But we have this illusion, this lie, that, oh, I can control it. That's your feeling. So let's put your feeling against Jesus' word. I don't know. I'm just going to have to kind of go with Jesus' word on that. I think Jesus' word has more merit than our feelings. And I may think I'm in control, but Jesus said, no, you have become a slave. You are a servant of sin. You know, we think that we can control something as though we had any power to dictate the result of sin. I can determine the level and fallout and destruction. Well, it's my life. It only affects me. Well, that fellow had other people on the boat with him. Hey, you know what? Adam and Eve, they couldn't control the effects of sin. They couldn't control the result. Oh, they tried. You know, God told Adam and Eve, the day you eat of that fruit, you're going to die. They said, oh, well, you know, we went and did it anyhow. But, you know, we'll make ourselves, some aprons out of fig leaves, and we'll control things. Yeah, we'll control. We'll go hide from God. That's our control. Well, guess what? God found the covering that they had made for themselves wasn't good enough. And God said, in the day you eat of that fruit, you're going to die. And when they ate of that fruit, they died. They died spiritually, and they began to die physically. You cannot control sin. You cannot control the effects of sin. You cannot control the outcome of sin. Because when you sin, you have become the slave. You have become the servant. God's word is true. But we think that, I can control things. No. That's a lie that the devil and sin wanted you to believe. You cannot control the effects. Lust, when it is conceived, bringeth forth sin. Sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. The end result of sin is always death. You cannot control it. You cannot change it. It is an inevitable law of God Himself. But we think, I'm not that far. I can still handle things. Solomon thought he was still in control. Solomon thought he was still the wisest man in the world. But one step at a time, the same decision to continue in that direction, one wife at a time, over and over and over again, and his heart was turned. Now, you know what? You don't have to go out and marry 1,000 women, fellas, for your heart to be turned. Yeah. In a way, I guess that's good news. I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. But the fact of the matter is, you never control sin, and you are never in control of the situation. It controls you. Well, what else might he say? He might have said, I may not have the power I once had. This motor keeps cutting out. I don't have the force, the energy, or the power behind me that I once had, but it's okay. I don't think I've moved that far. Yeah, people like to tell themselves that a lot, too. Amazing how blind people are as to how much their life has changed. I've seen people that at one time were sweet and innocent, caring and loving. People that were faithful in church, faithful in ministry. They're not even in church anymore. They're not doing a thing for God. But if you talk to them, yeah, man, I'm saved, and man, I love the Lord, and I've got a good relationship with Him. Haven't read their Bible, and who knows when, don't pray, don't go to church, but they think they've got a good relationship with God. They're oblivious as to how far they've drifted. They don't even know how far they've gotten away. Because we've got to remember, it's not just the steps that we take, it's not just the decisions we make. There are other forces at play that are moving us at all times. There's the world, there's the flesh, there's the devil, there's so-called friends that are all having and exerting a force or an effect on you that are moving us. And we drift and don't even realize it. Well, I don't think I've moved that far. Yeah, you'd be surprised sometimes to find out how far you've moved. I got a little distracted in the boat one day, and we're working on, lines get tangled up, and people, the fish bites the whole line off, and you got to put a new hunk of line on there, and a new spinner bait, and new bait, new worms, and stuff like that. You got to get that worm and pull it in two, because you don't want to waste a whole worm on one hook, So you just grab that worm and, pop it, And it works good, too, and I'm glad, because, I'd hate to have to bite through one of them, that'd be bad. But, unless you're ice fishing, because it helps if you keep the bait warm, But anyway, I got distracted in the back of the boat. I'm, getting fish off the hook, putting fish on the stringer, doing all these different things, and I'm distracted in the back of the boat, and I realize, you almost hit a rock? No! I almost hit an island! I mean, a rock that would be justifiable. It's sticking out of the water maybe that much. It's, much smaller than the boat. You didn't even see it. Okay. How do you not see an island? Bigger than this entire